My dream, and I'll share with you because you guys are listening, my dream is to become a national champion.
Away, Brown with a steal.
Hodge moving down, Bell throws it over for Golston. He's got it.
English. That'll line him up again. The three, baby. Johnson.
One day, like I said, we will cut down nets, hold up trophies. We will raise banners.
It's Buckets and Brightside, episode 6. Probably going to be one of our best episodes so far. This is the morning after Missouri's huge 71-64 win on the road at controversial Northeast school Pittsburgh after the end of last week's show that Pittsburgh is considered Midwest, but also Northeast. So all I know is it's the city that Missouri won in last night. Joined alongside Jonathan Lidskin. How are we, Lids?
We are good. That was a much needed win last night in a game that wasn't always the most crisp in the first half, but Mizzou, it wasn't being played at Mizzou's pace to start the game. And towards the end of the first half and the second half, they really kind of just turned the corner in terms of how the game was being played. But hey, they played defense and they needed to show that they could win a game like that and win a game on the road to kind of flip the momentum of the season.
Yeah, they trailed by as much as 6 in the first half, 29-23, didn't trail by more than 6 after that mark. I think my big takeaway is now twice this season, when this team really needed to turn on the gas and had to get in must-win mode, they've done exactly that. Down 20 points on the road against Minnesota, the thrilling comeback in the last 10 minutes there. And then last night, where they had a 3-game homestand against 3 low major schools, Jackson State, which they lost, South Carolina State, which was close for a half, and then Loyola Maryland, which was closed basically for 30 minutes before Missouri pulled away late. Not the 3 games that they wanted. How would they respond on the road against Pitt, who had only 1 loss going into that game?
It was to Florida in the NIT season tip-off.
Yeah, they were an NCAA tournament team last year. Blake Hinson is one of the best players in probably all the ACC. And they were in a dogfight for a first half, and then they basically came up clutch down the stretch, especially with Sean East, who's really starting to prove as the best player on this team. But my big takeaway is when this team needed to fight back, and I'm not saying the season was on the line, but they had to do something different to get back on track, and they did exactly that.
Yeah, they had a real chance to put Pitt away with about 5 minutes to go last night, and they couldn't capitalize. And then Blake Hinson basically hits what was a logo 3 over Nick Honor to get the lead down to 2. And they Dennis called timeout. It was an 8-0 run for Pitt with 3 minutes to go. And it looked like basically Pitt could come in here and steal a win that really belonged to Mizzou, but they fought back, hit a couple tough shots late, played together really well. And, some guys stepped up that we hadn't been really impressed by and thought maybe should have been on the bench. And, the coaching staff kind of thought the same way.
Yeah, I think that's our first more mistake of the season, is saying that we can add that one to the list, that Vanover and Caleb Grill should probably be out of the rotation. And They both had, major impacts last night. Grill scored 10 points, had 5 rebounds, and a couple of 3-pointers. One of them was off a dribble. That was really nice. And then Vanover, which the story that Gates told after the game is that after the Loyola Maryland game where he really struggled, Gates said that he put Vanover on the practice squad team off the main. Basically, he had practice with the practice players. I don't even know how that even works.
Yeah, so the scout team.
Scout team, essentially. This is a guy who's 7'6" and has played at a couple of major colleges and NCAA tournament games. And last night had one of his best games, 6 points, 7 rebounds, had a nice alley-oop dunk at one point, had a nice easy finish. Because Pitt's not a super big team. Their center, Mr. Federico, was only about 6'10". So Vanover obviously had the big size advantage there. And Grill did what he needed to. 3-and-D player. He's starting to figure out his role. And that's kind of my big takeaway right now, is now we're 8 games into the season, Missouri 6-2, which is probably right where they should be. We're starting to know guys' roles a little bit more. And maybe with all these with 11 new players coming into this team, we're kind of starting to figure out rotations, roles for this team, and it's starting to look a lot smoother. I would say especially in the Loyola Maryland game in the second half. And then this one, we'll see how it looks against Wichita on Sunday.
Yeah, I think Connor Vanover being playable for this team is really big because, like, watching Jordan Butler, he is not ready to play
Yeah.
against top major teams. Like, defensively, he is slow on rotations. He had a play last night where, I forget which Diaz Graham, I think it was Guillermo. They went into a dribble handoff play and Butler tried to trail it, and it was just a really bad mistake because Graham got to the bucket for an and one really easily. But yeah, they need Vanover like badly right now if they want to play with any sort of size. And like he responded to what Dennis said was criticism. Basically, Gates told him that, hey, if you're not gonna play hard, if you're not gonna give us what we need, I'm not gonna play you. And Vanover responded like he wasn't supposed to play at all last night. And
Yeah, go on.
yeah, Gates put him in, and he was excellent.
This was a decent point from KMH sports director Ben Arnett that this team is learning to play with big guys. Last year they didn't play at all. Noah Carter and Kobe Brown were essentially the fives in this team. They didn't really have a true center playing impact major minutes. I guess a little bit of Mo Diarra, but they've never played with an actual true big man before. So maybe it's taken a couple games to get used to the Vanover role, and that's kind of what we're seeing. And now 8 games deep, we're seeing the adjustment.
Yeah, it's very possible that's the case. I think. Yeah, I mean, this team played small all of last year. You had a lot of Kobe Brown and Noah Carter as small ball fives, and they could still play that way. But it's not going to be the greatest for rebounding. This team was pretty much dead last year in allowing offensive rebounds.
I'm trying to find the free throws. Okay, like last night, 9 of 14 from the free throw line. On the season right now, they are 89 of 120, which is about 74%. They're shooting 11 per game. When does this become an issue? Or is it already?
I mean, like, you lost a close game to Jackson State.
Because of free throw shooting?
Yeah. And not necessarily because of free throw shooting, but like
that was one of the reasons.
If you're gonna play close games, which like this team is going to all year long, like you need to be a good free throw shooting team to win it. Like it's that this is part of how close game luck works, and like it's gonna be a problem until free throw shooting is something that's hard to get better at as the year goes along. Like kind of
you play in more difficult environments.
So yeah, especially like on the road and like. But like, hey, to Pitt's like to their credit last night, like Pitt shot 31 free throws and made 25 of them, and like the whistle was clearly going Pitt's way all night, and they fought through it and still managed to come out of there with a win. And part of that is because Pitt's typical 3-point shooters, like only Hinson shot the ball well from three, like Leggett and Carrington going a combined 1 of 12 from three is not the norm for Pitt. So. They kind of got away with it, and Leggett missed some open threes towards the end of the game that really would have given Pitt a chance to win it.
As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM Sportsbook for this college basketball season. We're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks and predictions throughout the college basketball season, and we are going to have special offers for you, the listeners and the viewers on the Field of 68 each and every week during the season. If you haven't signed up with BetMGM yet, use the bonus code FIELD1500 and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager on BetMGM Sportsbook. Here's what you got to do. Download the BetMGM app. Sign up using the bonus code FIELD1500. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if that bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code FIELD1500 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available under one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient for me when I have to go cover games in New York or Philly. When crossing state borders, just log into your existing account instead of having to create new accounts in each state that you go to. And most importantly, I got to let you know, we do have some fun stuff coming up for this college basketball season. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boosts, my personal favorite, parlay odds boosts. So download the BetMGM app today.
What did you make of the starting five changes? So Gates and East said after in the press conference that East texted him, I think at like 2 a.m. the other night, and said that we needed to change the starting five, and he needs to start Tamar Bates and start Aiden Shaw. And that's exactly what they did. He joined, I think it was Easton Honor in the starting five. Was Vanover was the fifth, correct? Who was the fifth?
No, it was East, Carter, Shaw, Honor, and Bates.
Carter. That's why I'm forgetting. But adding Bates and Shaw to that group, clearly looked like they're playing some kind of energy. And Shaw had a couple nice plays, including one of the dunks, towards the end of the game. And that's what Shaw's there to do: play good defense, get a couple rebounds. He had 4. He only had 1 block. He's been good with that this season. Feels like that starting five worked, and it feels like something we could see going forward, even though the starting lineup has changed literally every single game.
Yeah. See, the thing with Aiden Shaw, and like, I'm a huge analytics guy, so like, Aiden Shaw's on-off splits and his plus-minus like are in the negatives. Like those, like that's bad. But like, I am adamant that Aiden Shaw provides a different level of athleticism that this team doesn't have, and because of that, like, you probably need to give him minutes to an extent. Like, he's still young, he's still really raw, so like maybe he gets better as the year goes along. But yeah, it was an interesting group last night that they tried, and I imagine they go back to it when Wichita State comes to town on Sunday. Like, Tamar Bates was a system fit. We knew that. And as long as he continues to hit threes, like, he's going to play.
What do we think of Sean? What do you think Shawnee's ceiling is right now? Because he's clearly become the closer on this team. He has been the best player on this team, pretty inarguably. 21 points last night. He closed the game out against Loyola Maryland. Against Memphis, he was the guy they kept turning to, even though they lost. So had the game winner against Minnesota. Like, does he have like an all SEC like ceiling on him? Like, can he be like all SEC first team? Like, can you probably be the team's leading scorer at the end of the year? Like, can he be the best player on an NCAA tournament team also?
So, numbers wise, yeah, he can definitely be an all SEC player because, you know, he's shooting the ball really well from 3. He's going to be the team's leading scorer. Like, he's being really efficient too right now. Like, it's not like the phrase I've used with him is like, he's gotten so much better at picking his spots, and like, he's nationally ranked in like top 100 in effective field goal percentage and true shooting percentage right now, and then he's 7th nationally in 3-point percentage. He's 10 of 17 on the year shooting threes. Obviously, that's not sustainable. He's not going to shoot over 50% from 3 all year.
Would be crazy if he did.
Yeah, it's the second question's tougher to answer. Can he be the best player on an NCAA tournament team? Like, I don't have an answer for you right now. I would lean no. Like, I would still lean no. But, you know, if this team's going to play like they did last night, like, maybe.
Did last night change the trajectory of this team towards the tournament? Because they had the quad 4 loss to Jackson State. This, for now, I believe is a quad 1 win. And hopefully we'll see that way. We'll see how, you know, Pitt's probably going to be one of the better teams in the ACC. That'll kind of always sort it out once we get to January and stuff, how good they actually are. But could this win maybe, you know, be something that really can put them over the top in March? Because I feel like I guess the committee been watching way too much college football, but the tournament selection process is a lot more recency bias. Like, they don't really like. I don't think the Jackson State loss will make a difference if they make the tournament or not. But maybe could this win start turn them in the right trajectory as they close non-con?
So the committee won't look at it as like they lost to Jackson State. They'll look at it as like they have a quad 4 loss, and like ultimately quad 4 losses knock you a seed line, and maybe 2. Like, we see it every year. A quad 1 win doesn't knock out a quad 4 loss, but like, they need these to help. Like, they needed that to help, because Wichita State coming to town on Sunday, that's not going to be quad 1. Seton Hall at a neutral site, like, that probably is not going to be quad 1 with the way Seton Hall is playing.
What about Illinois?
Illinois will definitively be quad 1.
Okay.
It's a neutral game. Yeah, it's a neutral game at a top 50. Like, Illinois will definitely be top 50. And Kansas obviously will be quad 1.
Kansas is quad 1-1.
Kansas is quad 1, but like, it doesn't really matter because you're not probably winning that game.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Like, we could say Kansas is quad 1. It's a quad 1 loss, is what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt the resume.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Self has lost 18 times at Allen Fieldhouse. I'm hoping to see number 19 when I'm there in a few days.
When
Coach
Hurley in Kentucky or King, not Kentucky, maybe one day. Coach Hurley, Connecticut, make the trip to Allen Fieldhouse. And Robinson, real fast, 5 points. I thought he had a little bit of a spark in the second half. He only played 13 minutes total. Was a +1. I think he had an and one at one point. He continues to provide a spark to this team. And I think both of us really like what he's been doing.
He will be one of the first guys off the bench all year. He could end up starting with the way they keep changing things around, but like he's the only freshman right now that's playable. And he's more than playable. He gives you positive impact every time he goes out there. He brings energy, he can score. Like this team's obviously backloaded with guards, so like it's tough to find room for everyone, but like you need to keep finding a way to get him out there.
Yep. Want to do our stars of the game?
Yeah.
Who do you have?
I'll go first. I'll go Caleb Grill. Like I have to be equally fair to guys I'm critical of, and Caleb Grill was excellent last night. 10 points, 5 rebounds, was playing great defense. He did a lot of was hustling for loose balls. He did a lot of things last night that impressed me, and I thought really brought energy to a team that was in a close game. And so, yeah, I'll give Caleb Grill the star of the game. Like I said, equally, I'll give equal spotlight to players I'm critical of if they deserve.
I'm going to do the same exact thing. Connor Vanover, the guy we talked about earlier on the scout team, didn't think he was going to play, came in, had a major impact. 6 points, 7 rebounds, doesn't look a whole lot on paper, was very impactful on the court, positioning on defense, spacing the floor. Really, I think in terms of the comeback or the second half stretch, played a major part of it. We'll let the fans pick the third. I ideally think it'll be Shawnee's, maybe possibly Noah Carter. So Missouri has Wichita State on Sunday. Any quick thoughts on the Shockers? I know they're off to a 6-1 start this year, but I don't think they've played anyone good. So
yeah,
real test. And they come here to Columbia, not like last year where they went to Kansas.
Yeah, I was at that game last year, and it was a really interesting one. Wichita State's a team that played in, I believe it was the Myrtle Beach Invitational.
Yeah.
The Myrtle Beach Invitational last week. They went 2-1 in it. 105 in Ken Palm. Like, they're a team that so far, like, they've won the games they're supposed to. They've played one team that's better than them, and that was Liberty, who's really good, they got blown out by. I'll try to keep my eye tonight on that game they have against Richmond, because Richmond's a team that's ranked higher than them in Ken Palm and hasn't looked unimpressive to start the year. So, but ultimately, a game Mizzou should win, a game Mizzou needs to win, because you can't afford to keep taking losses outside of quad one with the Jackson State loss hovering over your head.
And the schedule they have ahead.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And also, he hasn't. I don't think he's played, but like Ronnie DeGray is on
Wichita State.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing, but like he's on Wichita State. Like this is a very different roster than the one they had a year ago when Mizzou went to Wichita.
Yep, and then we'll have 6 days before they make the trip to Lawrence. We'll have some big previews for that. That's probably going to be our next show. Next week might have some guests of some sort. That's when we'll figure it out. But that's been our episode of Buckets and Brightside. Big win last night for the Tigers. We'll see if they keep it going this weekend against Wichita State. I'm Harrison Vapnik. That's Jonathan Litzkin. We'll see you next time on the Buckets and